Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Roz, and welcome to my home in Dallas. Let me show you around.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Be sure to visit our website, homeworthy.com, to discover amazing furniture, art, accessories, and more, all handpicked by our editors to help transform your house into a home. All of the items are inspired by the episodes you see here on Homeworthy. Enjoy!
Hi, I'm Roz Murphy. Welcome to my home in Dallas, Texas. My husband and I bought this home 12 years ago, and it's a 1950s home that has been added onto over the years. It's approximately 3,300 square feet and 4 bedrooms. We live in this home with our 2 teenage daughters. One is a sophomore in college and the other is a senior in high school. And one of the reasons why we bought this house is when they were really young, we were 2 blocks away from the school. So it was just so wonderful to be able to walk them to school and pick them up every day. It's just been a really wonderful, family-friendly neighborhood. It's really interesting being an empty nester. It's sort of sad, but that's actually another reason why this home is perfect for us. It's not too large. We have enough space for everybody, but I feel like it won't feel super empty when the girls are gone. Welcome to my living room. Because our home is a 1950s ranch house, we don't have a formal entry. So when you walk in the door, you just walk in my living room. One of my favorite pieces was actually recently acquired. It's an abstract art painting by a local artist named Julie Brown. I love it because it has a lot of energy and it adds a little bit of a contemporary flair to this more traditional living room. I'm a huge collector of vintage accessories. I feel like it really adds a layer and some personality to the room. So these are some of my newly acquired pieces. I love Murano glass. It's one of my favorite things to collect. And I grabbed these birds the other day at an antique store and I loved it because it just had all of my favorite colors. These are some chinoiserie planters that I found at a local consignment store. And what I love about them is not only are they chinoiserie, but they have a fun little pink dragon. And again, so much color. And I really believe adding plants to decor in a room kind of warms things up. So it's the perfect way to showcase those. I don't know. I sort of like the fierceness of dragons and the energy that they give. I think I was also born in the year of the dragon. So maybe it's just, part of that, but I think that they add a little bit of whimsy, especially incorporated in a fabric pattern. I recently had these pillows made, and what I love about them is the embroidery. I feel like embroidery gives up a little bit of a pop, especially when paired with a velvet. And again, I love incorporating a little bit of mix of emerald green and lavender. I like the stronger, more saturated colors, and I feel like the pairing of emerald green and lavender is a great combination, so long as we don't make it so dated like the late 90s. I don't like to go totally jewel tone, but more updated jewel tone. One of the big challenges of a small home is trying to make it feel encapsulated. So one thing that I did was add grass cloth to this accent wall and this large mirror to sort of create a large window effect that mirrors the window at the front of my house. A lot of times people will comment on my lamps and wonder where I got them. And when I was designing this room, I was really challenged with finding the perfect lamps. And then one day I came across these vases that were the perfect color, so I had them made into lamps. I think one of the challenges designers face is they have a vision in mind for what they want, but a lot of times in the marketplace, those things don't exist or they don't want to repeat, especially when you've done things for clients. So I'm a big fan of finding a one-off piece and making it into a lamp or incorporating some vintage pieces just so you get that one-of-a-kind feel. I wanted to add a little bit of art deco to this house. So I bought this table at auction when we first moved in, and I just enjoy styling it. Of course, I added a little vintage Murano to give it a little bit of shimmer, but I love to style this around the seasons, with Halloween and Christmas. There's always something going on this table. I must admit, these are not real orchids. These are orchids that are actually part of my botanical collection. I have a collaboration with Shane at the Botanical Mix, and I just think that they're fun because life is so busy. We can't always keep everything alive. And so, this is a nice sort of evergreen piece that I like to rotate around my house. I love incorporating nature in my design, and that doesn't always have to include plants and such. I find that the natural elements and the minerals and crystals are such a fun way to just bring a little bit of a natural element. You know, we originally got these window treatments because we're on a street that has a lot of pedestrians walking by. So instead of being on display, I decided that we should go with a nice natural element to have them down. But yet, when they're down, you don't feel like they're closed in. And then I love layering drapery with the shades. I think it just gives it a little bit of extra edge. Given the fact that this home is a little vertically challenged for the shorter ceilings, I decided to add draperies that go all the way up to the crown molding. Because this is the first room that you walk into in the home, it's really part of our gathering space. It's not a room that's just off to the side that we rarely use. We do like to sit in here, not only when entertaining, but just day to day. I find that sometimes having a formal living room that's always pristine, it's the one place that you want to go to because it's not distracting and it is just a nice place to have an intimate conversation at the beginning or the end of the day. The one of the things that I love about this home is it really was a blank slate because it was a 50s ranch house. I felt like it had good bones and it had some really nice architectural molding to it. What I really like is mixing styles, a little traditional, a little modern, and this house really gave me the opportunity to do that. When I was decorating this home, really what my intention was to bring color and whimsy and really make it feel homey and not too formal. I would say my personal style is traditional, but I like to bring a few modern elements. But one thing that you'll notice is I really am a color lover. I love deep saturated colors and mixing bold patterns. So it just kind of gives it a little bit of vibrancy. Now I'll show you my formal dining room. What I love about this room, which I recently re-wallpapered, is I love the tropical feel of the pattern, and I love the chartreuse mixed with some of the other warmer tones like the tangerines and the peaches. I think it's just fun and whimsical. I decided to go with a tropical pattern for this room because I really felt like I didn't want this room to be formal, and this pattern feels a little bit more whimsical. I was drawn to the more chartreuse colors mixed with the melons, the tangerines, and a little bit of the blues. And of course, it pairs beautifully with my lavender draperies over here. Also, when designing this room, because it is open to my living room, I needed the rooms to talk to each other. So there's a little bit of continuity with the color scheme. So, one of the things I love about this dining room is this custom buffet. I designed it myself because, again, it was hard to find something on the marketplace that fit my style and fit the size and shape that I was needing. So, I commissioned a local craftsman to make this for me. And I am a lover of like a neoclassical style. So, I took that by having this more neoclassical molding, but just wanting it to be soft and creamy. So, it's more of this oyster undertone to it. So a little bit more neutral and less formal. And same with my dining chairs. I didn't want it to feel like a set. So I love how there's a little bit of contrast with these Chippendale chairs with my darker dining room table. I would say normally when I'm entertaining, I wouldn't have such a tall flower arrangement so that people can see, but I wanted to have a sense of abundance when I put together this table scape. But typically, I would say that our dinners are more informal than most. I think life is so busy that it's harder to entertain formally these days. So I usually use a white hem stitch, linen tablecloth, and just incorporate some of my china. But I would say the rest of it is pretty informal because you want your guests to feel comfortable day to day. I do enjoy using some of my pieces, from my registry, and I love a vintage coupe over here. I acquired these recently from a antique store, and I just thought that they were really fun. Sometimes it's great, yes, to use crystal, but adding a little bit of that gold gives it a warmer feel. When I got married 22 years ago, I wasn't really forward thinking into what my future dining room would look like. So it's interesting that these pieces to me are still so timeless and have worked in actually every house that I've had. I also like to incorporate a mix of patterns. So I did a Bernardo salad plate that paired really well with the china plate just to do a little mix and match. This purple bowl is another vintage Murano piece that I've come across in my travels, and I love it because it pulls together just a little bit of color. And I like to mix in some glass when entertaining with china. I also chose these vintage brass candlesticks. As much as I love my silver candlesticks, sometimes again it can feel formal, and I felt like going with more of a matte gold was better for this setting. I bought this chandelier when we first moved into the house, and it's actually from a local trade vendor, so it's not a vintage piece. And the reason why I selected it is I felt like the scale was perfect for this room without going overly formal. I like the whimsical shape, but it's not too over the top. This is a wallpapered ceiling, and I chose it because it's a beautiful champagne color, and when it's lit up at night, it gives this beautiful glowing effect that I love when entertaining. I think styling a bar cart can be so fun. It's a real versatile way to mix some of your pieces and incorporate a little bit of whimsy and color. So I felt like it was fun to incorporate maybe a few more of my little birds here that tie in and talk to my wallpaper. And it's just always fun when you're entertaining to have a cohesive piece like this. I am a lover of martinis, although I don't make them very well at home. So I would say more of a vodka soda girl with a lemon twist. These glasses are again sort of my chinoiserie dragon glasses that are a collaboration from a few years ago with Schumacher and Williams Sonoma. And I ended up buying a whole set along with, plates and bowls, and they're really fun to use in our house, especially when we're having, pasta or little protein nights. Everybody wants to have a dragon bowl. Growing up, we moved around a lot, and my mom loved decorating our homes. So the two of us would go to the wallpaper store. I was always involved in decorating my room, and I really loved it. I would do my doll house, my Barbie house, etc. But when I went away to college, I ended up getting an English degree and an art history minor. And it wasn't until I was halfway through that I really realized that interior design was what I wanted to do. So after I graduated, I attended a local interior design school here in Dallas. It's really interesting because I feel like I learned a lot from my mom, but at the same time, I've sort of diverged into a different direction. And so it is really fun for us to sort of coordinate and collaborate with each other on our houses. We have done several renovations to this house. I would say we just finished our most recent renovation, which was our kitchen last year. It had been redone several times, sort of more in the 90s style. And honestly, I'd been so busy with other projects, I hadn't had a chance to get around to it. So it was really exciting finally when it was my turn to redo my kitchen. Welcome to my kitchen. So we remodeled this kitchen a few years ago, and before it had a wall of cabinets on this wall and an island in the middle, and it just felt very cramped, and it felt tight and just didn't work for our family. So when we decided to redo it, I actually eliminated half the cabinets, and we've been able to get by with having a smaller footprint for the cabinets, but it works really nice because it's now a really open, inviting place to be. So when I designed these cabinets, I wanted to have something that had a little bit of personality. I've always been drawn to a fretwork pattern, but I felt like that pattern would really be showcased with a mirror behind it. Since it is a smaller kitchen, I thought that the mirror would capture a little bit more light. One of the things I love about this kitchen is that it's not an open concept. I like the fact that it can be its own encapsulated space, and I didn't have to worry about how it would transition with the dining room and my family room. So I decided to go bold and do a wallpaper in this beautiful French blue from Quadrille. And it's been really fun just to infuse a little bit of color and pattern into our everyday lives. I cook a lot, and I love to cook. I actually love to sort of make up recipes, but my husband is a fabulous chef. So I think between the two of us, we collaborate really well. I really like to keep it simple because I don't want to be stuck in the kitchen worried about the timing so that I can't entertain and interact with my guests. So usually I like to do a lean protein, a wonderful salad, and maybe a risotto on the side because those things are easy to prepare and you don't have to be so worried about the timing. When we decided to do the blue wallpaper, I knew that I needed to incorporate another pattern. And so as a family, we all voted on the color watermelon. So this is a beautiful, fun watermelon tone that I think pairs really well with the blue. And I had these stools custom made, and they're a really fun pop of color against the white marble island. The skylight was done during a renovation by one of the previous owners, and what's interesting about it is up at the top there's a window in the hallway by my daughter's bedrooms. So there's a lot of time opening the windows, communicating from upstairs downstairs, which has been really convenient and kind of fun. I love this piece of art that I acquired because I'm a huge fan of still life, and I feel like it encapsulates all of the colors that I love, not only in my house, but it just gives it sort of a fresh, vibrant feel. One of our most loved spots in this kitchen is this breakfast area. I love it because it gets lots of natural light, and my girls have loved flopping on this banquette here first thing in the morning or at the end of the day to do homework. It just feels like a really cozy place for us to gather as a family. I'm not usually a big fan of doing a built-in because I feel like it's very tight. So this is a settee that I had made, and I covered it in a Thibaut performance fabric so I don't have to worry about it. And I wanted to add, again, a little bit more of the blue and pink with these Brunswick pillows. So it's a really cozy place. This is actually our bar area. We have sort of a smaller bar area, but it's really nice because it's in the middle of all the action when we're entertaining. And I like to incorporate some of the glassware I've collected over the years. This collection of painted glasses was a wedding present from my parents from an artist in Florida. And I love it because it's vibrant, it has lots of color, but it's also sentimental to me. And then I like to incorporate more colored glassware just for every day. Of course, I love using my crystal, but it's fun to incorporate other colors. These glasses were a gift that I gave to my husband for our 20th wedding anniversary. They were William Yoward, and they're sadly discontinued. And so I only have 4. So every time we go to use them, I'm just so scared that they're going to break. So we're always really careful. I really would say that I use my glassware a lot. The china, not so much, just because it's not as dishwasher friendly. And I would say I actually like to have more of a blank slate with a white plate, but I do use my crystal often. I would say the favorite thing about my home is that it's very unexpected. From the outside, you see sort of a cute cottage ranch style. And then when you come in, it's a little bit more maximalist, lots of color. And I like that mix because it sort of keeps it exciting and multidimensional. I think color is one of the most important foundations because it really affects people's mood, and it also reflects their personality. I don't like to go overboard. So for example, typically I'll have a room with maybe a neutral wall palette, and then I'll get my color through the pillows, the art, the accessories, etc., because that way people don't get as tired of things. However, when working with wallpaper, I really like to do sort of something fun and bold because it's the art for the walls. And here's my family room. One of the things I love about this family room is the bright cherry color palette and the mix of colors. I feel like this piece of art really was an inspiration for me because I wanted to not only have the blue and white reflected, but that little bit of the melon color I think gives it a fresh edge. I love mixing the patterns. So I have a floral pattern mixed with kind of more of a Greek key style. We love these chairs. My husband and I sit here every night at the end of the day. They're so comfortable. And I recently recovered them in a Brunswick chinoiserie pattern. And I love just mixing that little bit of blue and white with my favorite dragon theme. So one fun purchase that I bought a few years ago for my girls was a just little vintage record player. I had loved having one growing up, and we actually use this all the time. We have a lot of old albums and new albums that we like to play, and it just adds a little bit of entertainment and whimsy when we're having friends over. So this ottoman gets used a lot. We're usually moving it around for you to put your feet up or pulling it up to the table when we're playing games and puzzles or having an occasional movie night. So I just love the performance texture of it because I'm not concerned about it getting dirty. And then I added this little bit of tape trim at the bottom from Samuel & Sons that gives it a pop. For the cocktail table, I really wanted it to float so it could be in the center of the room without being too heavy. And so I love having it be clear and pristine so that I can change it around with my accessories. I also like it because we tuck under and have pizza on Friday nights, or we'll do a puzzle or a game here. So this candle is from Nest. It's one of my favorite scents, which is the Ocean Mist. I love it because it's such a big candle, it can burn forever, and I feel like the scent sort of goes along with my light and bright theme. This is our game table, and we love it. It's actually been a wonderful spot for my girls to do their homework, or if we entertain, it's a lot of ancillary seating for dining. I can't say that I play Mahjong just yet, but I do love these chairs. I found these chairs at a vintage shop. I loved sort of their Dorothy Draper feather style to them, so I had them lacquered and recovered in a Peter Fasano fabric. This is a working gas fireplace, and we use it all winter long. I love how it sort of makes this room feel really cozy, and I decided to go with a more clean and pristine fireplace screen so that it wouldn't obstruct the view. So I would say my daughter Daisy is the piano player. She actually grew up playing the harp and loves music, and actually last night she was playing Christmas carols on the piano, so it's really fun. So we do use it a lot, but it's nice in this style of a home because it's not so large and taking up too much space. One of the things I love about this family room is that it's an easy transition back to our patio, which we use all year round. We love to use this patio that we recently renovated a few years ago. Before, it used to be a big deck here, and my husband really wanted to add a roof so it could feel more like a living area. And we also added this fireplace that we really love to enjoy in the fall. We watch a lot of college football out here or just entertain all summer. So I love this container. This actually came from Spain when my parents were traveling there years ago, and I just like to incorporate pieces from travel, especially if they come from family. We use this bar cart all of the time. Normally when the girls have their friends over, I'll have a large lemonade or a flavored fruit water out here because it gets so hot here in Dallas, so this is always in use. And bougainvilleas are one of my favorite plants. I love sort of that rich saturated color that it offers because it reminds me of being in Florida or my travels to the tropics. So the fabric out on my patio is 50-50 performance. All of the furniture pieces are in a sunbrella, but I did just use a regular Schumacher fabric out here because it is a covered area. However, these pillows are performance. I'm really inspired by designers from the past that forged their way ahead with their own styles. I've always been a big lover of Dorothy Draper. The Greenbrier is sort of a design inspiration for me because of the layered, bold patterns. And I would also say that I love sort of more of a Florida Palm Beach style. Even though I live in Dallas, I grew up in Florida, so I'm very drawn to tropical prints and a lot of green, lots of pinks, etc., that are just lighter and airier. And now I'll show you my sunroom. Welcome to my sunroom. I love to begin my day here because it's so bright and cheery, and it reminds me of my family room growing up in Florida. I love having this black chintz Schumacher fabric that incorporates all of my favorite colors. And I recently recovered this sofa to this bubblegum pink that makes me so happy. I have a little bit of a tropical theme here with my Birds of Paradise lamp from Curry & Company. This is really just sort of a sanctuary for me, and my girls love it too. My older daughter loves to nap on this sofa while I'm working at my desk, and it's just kind of a nice place for us to be all together. I love this pink and green color scheme because it gives me a little bit of a Lily Pulitzer vibe, and pairing it with the black is just a little bit more unexpected. When I was redesigning this room, I really didn't want to commit to a color because I thought that that would make it feel smaller. So instead, I decided to paint the ceiling this beautiful bright green that really coordinates nicely with my draperies. So it gives it a little bit of a pop without going too dark. So now I'll show you our primary bedroom, but on the way, I'd love to show you the stairs, which were recently installed. I wanted to get a little bit of a pop of color, so I used a lavender leather for the binding, and it just gives it a little kick. One of the things I love about this stairwell is this magnolia painting that I bought at auction a couple of years ago. This is done by an artist out of Charleston, South Carolina, and it just makes me happy every time I come up the stairs. Welcome to our primary bedroom. I decided to go with a light spa blue for this room so it would feel very soothing and fresh and clean. And I love pairing the blue with a little bit of the periwinkle. All of my bedding is from Matouk. They offer a wide variety of different patterns for the embroidery, and I always like to include a monogram. And then for this custom bolster, I wanted just a tiny bit of periwinkle to offset the light spa blue color, the French blue. Over by the window, I have a recently acquired chaise that is so cozy for me to read on a Sunday afternoon, or sometimes my girls will sit in here and talk to us while we're just hanging out. It's just, I think the curve is really so fun and unexpected. I love these chinoiserie bird panels because they add a little bit of pattern without having too much color so that it's not too stimulating. And I love the champagne frame. I love these lamps. I bought them at one of my favorite vintage stores in Palm Beach, Circa Who, and had the lampshades recovered from a local shop. And it's just, I think that they're so fun because they add a little bit of texture. When designing this room, I decided to go with a really soothing color palette. I wanted there to be layers of whites and light blues, so it was really serene. This is actually a standard king, but I wanted to do something that really drew your eye up. So I went with this bed that I bought from Vanguard, and I wanted a little bit of gray, so there was a touch of darkness, and that would make all of the white pop. This is a painting that my husband bought me for one of our anniversaries. And I've always loved a still life. That is a real orchid by the TV. I do like to have a little bit of nature in here, and I wanted something to draw your eye up. So that is a real orchid. To me, home is really an important place for us to gather, kind of get our energy and spend our moments together. I know that living a busy life as a mom, a wife, running a business, it's so nice at the end of the day, coming home and feeling relaxed yet energized by my space. And I also think it's a wonderful place to entertain and be with friends and family. So it's just a fun way to express your own personal style.
Thanks for watching. Go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content and shopping guides.